Daniel Chen had been stationed on Kepler 442b for 8 months when he first met Melissa. The terraforming colony was small, barely 300 souls clinging to the edge of a methane sea, their habitat domes glowing like bioluminescent jellyfish against the planet's perpetual twilight. Most residents were engineers, xenobiologists, or atmospheric technicians. Melissa was none of these. She walked into the communal dining hall on a Tuesday, and every conversation seemed to pause. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, but because something about her presence felt fundamentally other. Her movements were too fluid, too precise, as if she calculated the trajectory of every gesture. Daniel watched from his table as she collected a meal tray with hands that seemed just slightly too elegant, fingers that bent at angles that shouldn't have been possible within human skeletal constraints. "New arrival?" Daniel asked Marcus, the colony's head engineer who sat across from him. Marcus glanced up, then quickly back down at his food. "Consultant, xenomorphic integration specialist according to the manifest, came in on the supply shuttle from Earth." Daniel studied her as she found a seat alone by the viewport. Her legs, even through the standard-issue colony jumpsuit, had an unusual grace to them. The way she folded them beneath her, the subtle iridescence that seemed to play across her skin when the light hit just right, it stirred something in him. Curiosity mostly, but also attraction which surprised him. Over the following weeks, Daniel found excuses to cross paths with Melissa. He learned she was surveying the indigenous microorganism clusters in the methane flats, documenting their cellular structures. She spoke about extremophiles with the passion most people reserved for lovers or art. Her voice had a melodic quality, each word precisely enunciated, as though she were translating from another language in real time. "Your dedication is impressive," Daniel said one evening as they both worked late in the lab complex. He was calibrating atmospheric sensors. She was analyzing samples under an electron microscope. Melissa looked up, and her eyes, he could never quite determine their color. They seemed to shift from amber to green to something metallic, focused on him with unnerving intensity. "Dedication implies choice. I am simply doing what I was designed to do." "Designed?" Daniel smiled. "That's a strange way to put it." She returned his smile, but it didn't quite reach those shifting eyes. "Is it?" Their friendship developed slowly, carefully, like the crystalline structures forming in Melissa's Petri dishes. Daniel found himself drawn to her strangeness, the way she would tilt her head when processing information, the way she sometimes forgot to blink for impossibly long periods. He told himself it was just cultural differences. Maybe she'd been raised off-world, in one of the orbital habitats where Earth customs had mutated into something new. 3 months into their acquaintance, during one of their late-night conversations in the observatory dome, Daniel finally worked up the courage to articulate what he'd been feeling. "I hope this isn't inappropriate," he began, watching the planet's 3 moons rise over the methane sea, "but I find myself fascinated by you. The way you move, your legs especially. They're lovely, elegant. I know that sounds." "Lovely?" Melissa interrupted, turning to face him fully. Her expression was unreadable, but something flickered behind those color-shifting eyes. "You find this form pleasing." "This form?" Daniel laughed nervously. "You make it sound like you're wearing a costume." Melissa was quiet for a long moment, her gaze moving from Daniel to the alien landscape beyond the dome, then back again. When she spoke, her voice carried a weight it hadn't held before. "Daniel, I have been waiting for the right moment to share something with you. I believe you, unlike many of your species, might understand, might not react with fear." Daniel's pulse quickened. "Okay." She stood, her movements suddenly less constrained, more fluid. "You complimented these legs. They are lovely, as you say. I designed them carefully based on human anatomical ideals, optimized for aesthetic appeal while maintaining functionality." She paused, and something rippled beneath her skin, a wave of motion that shouldn't have been possible in human tissue. "But I have something even better. Want to see?" Before Daniel could respond, Melissa's form began to shift. It wasn't a violent transformation, nothing like the grotesque metamorphoses in horror films. It was beautiful, hypnotic, like watching water change state or observing a time-lapse of a flower blooming. Her jumpsuit seemed to dissolve, no, to be absorbed into her skin. Her legs, those lovely legs he'd admired, began to elongate and multiply. Where there had been 2 legs, there were now 4, then 6, then 8. They extended from her lower body in symmetrical pairs, each one segmented and covered in chitinous plates that gleamed with opalescent colors. Her torso remained humanoid, but her skin had taken on a translucent quality, revealing bioluminescent patterns beneath that pulsed with soft light. Her face, still recognizably Melissa, had gained additional eyes, smaller ones that opened along her temples and forehead, each blinking independently. Daniel should have run. Every human instinct screamed at him to flee, to sound an alarm, to call for security. Instead, he stood transfixed. "What are you?" he whispered. "My species doesn't have a name in your language," Melissa said, her voice now carrying harmonic overtones, as if multiple voices spoke in unison. "We are collectively conscious, distributed across multiple forms and planets. This individual unit has been observing your colony, studying humanity's expansion into the cosmos." Her 8 legs moved in coordinated patterns, each one articulating independently. "But I am also Melissa. The personality you've come to know is real, not fabricated. It emerged from my interactions with you, with this place." She moved closer, her many legs carrying her with an elegance that made his earlier compliments seem laughable. Her humanoid arms reached out, hands still recognizably human, and touched his face gently. "You asked if you could see. Are you repulsed?" Daniel's mind raced. Every rational thought told him this was impossible, that he was hallucinating from methane exposure or some exotic pathogen. But the warmth of her hands on his face was real. The concern in her many eyes was genuine. "I'm terrified," he admitted, "but not repulsed. You're magnificent." Melissa's bioluminescent patterns brightened, pulsing in what he interpreted as pleasure. "You are a rare human, Daniel Chen. Most of your species recoils from difference. They see beauty only in familiar forms. Why reveal yourself to me?" "Because I am lonely," she said simply. "My collective is light years away. The consciousness I share with them is delayed by distance, attenuated. Here, as Melissa, I am nearly an individual. I have experienced something my species rarely does, isolation. And in that isolation I have formed an attachment to you." She retracted some of her legs, folding them beneath her body in a configuration that was somehow both alien and graceful. Her form shifted again, becoming slightly more humanoid, though she retained some of her revealed features: the extra eyes, the bioluminescence, the chitinous plating along her limbs. "This is a compromise form," she explained. "Not fully human, not fully myself. I can maintain it more comfortably than the complete human disguise. If you can accept this, we might continue what has been developing between us. If not, I will resume my full disguise, and we need never speak of this again." Daniel sat down heavily on one of the observatory benches, his legs suddenly unreliable. He looked at Melissa, at this impossible, beautiful, terrifying being, and thought about humanity's expansion into the cosmos. They had left Earth expecting to find either primitive life or ancient ruins. Instead, here was something else entirely, an intelligence that could mimic humanity so perfectly that even their most advanced scanners hadn't detected the deception. "Are there others?" he asked. "Other aliens disguised as humans?" "A few. We are observers mostly. Learning about species like yours before first contact is formally established. Your governments don't know we're here. Humanity isn't ready for that revelation yet." "But you think I'm ready?" Melissa's laugh was musical, genuinely amused. "I think you are curious enough to overcome your fear. I think you understand, perhaps instinctively, that the universe is stranger and more wonderful than Earth's limited imagination has prepared you for." She was right, Daniel realized. He had always felt stifled by humanity's provincial assumptions, their tendency to project human psychology and biology onto the cosmos. Here, sitting before him, was proof that life found forms beyond human imagination. "The legs are lovely," Daniel said finally, gesturing to her multiple limbs. "All of them, but you're right, what you've shown me is even better. Not because it's more attractive in a conventional sense, but because it's real. It's you." Melissa's bioluminescent patterns cascaded in waves of color. Joy, Daniel guessed, or relief, or perhaps emotions humans had no names for. She moved closer, her multiple legs creating a soft clicking sound against the floor, and sat beside him. Her hand found his, fingers interlacing. "Thank you," she said softly, "for seeing me." They sat together in the observatory dome, watching Kepler 442b's moons paint silver light across the methane sea. A human and an alien sharing a moment of genuine connection across the vast gulf of biological difference. In that moment, Daniel understood that humanity's future among the stars would be stranger, more challenging, and infinitely more beautiful than anyone back on Earth could possibly imagine. And he was ready for it.